We're live. Boom, we're on. As famous podcasters would say.
I'll kill that guy.
No, welcome back to the All About It podcast. This is the first time in several months that I've had an actual guest in front of me to talk about whatever the fuck we were going to talk about, Sean.
Yeah.
But it's really great to have you. It's amazing to actually be doing, like, because we've been doing football podcasts and that, but you know how it's having somebody in front of you just talking about life and comedy and things like that. It's always fun. And also, I've been watching some of your podcast packs, so there's part of me that's like,
oh shit,
slightly terrified of what's to happen.
No, mate, I think that's a pure misconception. See, when I come on other people's stuff, it's like my two best pals, like Pierce and Lewis, they obviously do a lot of stuff for the BBC. And I was like, I would never work with the BBC, but I says, whatever you guys need, I will obviously cater towards. And it's the same way, like when I go on pods, like, is there anything I can say? I'm not doing it, but
yeah. Cause your comedy, your sort of way of doing it is very sort of no hold bars. You know what I mean? Right.
I don't know, mate. I think that was like, see, at the start of my comedy career, I was very, very just shock value. Mm-hmm. But then I kind of realised that a wee bit in, like it was being more kind of hanging about with like Pierce and stuff. I kind of got to be myself a bit more on stage, because my like comedy idols are like polar opposites. So
right.
Lee Evans is one of them.
Really?
And then Frankie Boyle.
Do you know, the reason why I said really Lee Evans is because it just seems so corny, like in terms of that style.
Well, I think it's literally Lee Evans' comedy is for everybody, like all ages, all genders, anything. And that was kind of how I just fell in love with him, because I watched him with my dad when I was really young, and he was like one of the very first English comics to do a stand-up special in Scotland, but he fucking he roofed it, and I thought that was tremendous. And that was kind of when I had the inkling to do stand-up, and I was like, whoa, like a guy can do that, like to so many people, like create so much joy for just being himself and being fucking silly. I was, that's incredible.
What was your first set like when you?
Oh fuck! Just loads of N-words. No, I'm kidding on. Kidding on. No, mate. No, it was. Mate, it was fucking. Colin Higgins gave me my first spot. I'd basically been looking for a gig for about 6 months, but I'm a retarded person, mate. So what should have took 1 day took me 6 months to find a gig. I basically found like a comedy forum, and I went, I can't find gigs, and they went, you're an idiot. Message Colin Higgins, and he gave me my first spot in Jimmy's Bar. I think it's called Chester's now, or some shit.
That sounds
Paisley.
like a nice beautiful place to go.
Oh, it was great, mate. It's basically Epstein Island for comics. No, but I don't know, I've done it, mate, and I have this really weird thing in my subconscious where I never feel at home, given just because of my past and stuff. Obviously, I'm just going really serious here, but I'm trying to just kind of tell people. And then when I went on stage, mate, I really did feel at home. Like I felt as though like I'd found a calling and like a purpose. Because most of my life, mate, I've just kind of fucked about and been in things like I was in a band and that for like 10 years, and not like Rangers style, not like those gimps. But then I'd like tried various sports, and nothing clicked where I kind of went, oh fuck, like I really feel comfortable here and like it's my calling. And then when I did that, I was kind of like, oh shit, this is it.
Mate, I love that. That's amazing. Like, you're talking about like getting serious, but that's kind of what this podcast is about.
No, mate. I'm a huge fan of you, by the way. Like, I've watched a shit ton of your stuff. Like, mate, I'm a massive basketball fan. So see, when you had him on, I was like, holy shit.
Oh yeah.
But I think a lot. Aye, mate. And because I remember watching his documentary and all that, it's on BBC, and I was like, this is tremendous. And then you had them on, and I was like, holy shit. And I tuned in straight away, mate. But I think a lot of people forget, like, you're an athlete, because you were on Robot Wars, weren't you? What's Robot Wars, wasn't it?
Oh, do you know how much I'm trying to get that away from that? Sure, you're killing me. No, everybody that listens to this knows I did the poetry football stuff.
You're shit hot at it.
No, well, I mean, you know, I'm not too shabby. You know,
I'll bag you up, mate.
Not too bad.
Tremendous at it.
But no, I appreciate you saying that. I think like we had it's really interesting what you said there about like finding your calling and being, you know, somewhere where you feel like at home. Because I was very much similar to that. Like I didn't really, and even I think, do you know how what's something I've realised recently that's changed for me a lot is like the difference between being aware and knowing what to do. Like for years I was always aware of being I know why I'm struggling with this because it's because of the wheelchair and because I had people who treated me and such. So I was like, I wanted to doing the podcast and doing like creating these platforms was to try to help someone else like that in that same situation and sort of destigmatize it. But I was kind of still having this sort of like, I'm aware of why I feel like this, but I don't really know what to do about it or how to change it. And like, I think you have this idea in your head that it's too complicated to fix. Like I'm never going to. Do you know how people? You know how when stuff makes you feel pure shite in it, but you think like. I would always be one of those people who's like, this is too hard for me to kind of process or actually get to the bottom of why I feel like this. Because people would be like that, you know, you just need to let it go. You just need to, and you'd be like, how though? How do you do that? So, you know, for me, it's the past few years, it's all been about trying to help other people in the sense of finding, like, accepting yourself and things like that. But what I realised is I was still sort of in the middle of doing that for myself. And then we had when I was getting guys like Keaton and that on, we were having a really good run for about 4 or 5 months last year. We had loads of guests on and it was really consistent and it was doing well. But then just as it's happened for the past few years, I would have really good spells and I would just fall off for a bit. And I think I had a lot to kind of go, like, in that period of time was probably the first time that I really had to face this stuff properly. Because I thought I was doing that. You know how you always think you're doing that? But then something else happens. But a lot of this stuff happened to me in the last year were just very, like, real life things, like pals passing away and just different things that you could never be prepared for. Do you know what I mean? You could never really think that's going to happen. Yeah. And I had this sort of just... I mean, I've been doing a lot of therapy as well, which is actually, like, if you're somebody that's out there listening, think therapy is like this kind of thing where it's not really going to help me get to the bottom of this. It really does help you have a better understanding of what's actually happening in your head. And for me, it was just like that sort of inner voice in your head was always just so mean to me. I was always so mean to myself. Like, I would be like, I'd be doing something good and I would, instead of feeling good about it, I would be like, yeah, but I hate myself. I would say that to myself all the time. Yeah. And not even really like acknowledge it or realise it. I was just sort of saying it as sort of this throwaway comment and then I would just continue with my day. But then you start being like, when I said to you before, I would have been over. I feel like I'm just on this big ramble here.
No, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
When I said to you before about people thinking it's like this overcomplicated situation where you don't know how to fix it, or you don't know how to get to the bottom of it. The reason why it's overcomplicated, I think, is because we're always looking at other people and like, why did this person do this? Why did this happen like this? How can I ever get over this? And you get stuck in this rut of like, how could I ever deal with this heartbreak or that, you know, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a loss of somebody you care about, anything that you care about not quite going to plan, and you go, how can I ever get over this? And you realise, I think the realisation is it's not about other people. It's not about what other people think. It's about what you think about yourself. And it's the most, it just sounds like the most cliche thing ever, but the more that you actually go, you know, the more that you actually say to yourself, I like myself and I value myself, it changes the whole dynamic because you're able to take stuff, like things can happen, bad things can happen to you in situations, but you're able to go, yeah, but you know, that's not on me, they're on their thing, and I don't need to take that personally because I actually do value myself. And these things are so simple, but they're simple in conversations, but they're hard in practice. Do you know what I mean? So actually applying it and saying like, because that voice you're having with yourself in your conversations is actually literally the whole, is your opinion of yourself. Yeah. You know? And if you have this pure horrible opinion of yourself, that always ends up becoming this thing where you need validation from other people.
You also become that opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's how this always happens. So like, you would go on these good runs of feeling good and being productive, but eventually that those things you're saying to yourself and that opinion you have of yourself is what ends up showing up, and that's why you end up dipping away for however many months and you go through a bad period because basically in that good period you're sort of just fighting through it.
You're autopilot.
You're autopilot, you're fighting through it, but you're not actually, you're constantly on this sort of, there's constantly going to be this big dip ahead because you have an opinion of yourself that's going to become the reality of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You are what you think and you are what you do. And I think that's something that I just thought, like, I would just always think, there's no way it's as simple as that, though. It has to be more complicated than that.
Yeah.
And I get that obviously there's like various different things, but I'm just talking about day-to-day life in terms of valuing yourself and actually like wanting to do, you know, like we always talk about helping out other people, and I was somebody that would come on here and I would be like wanting to just help other people through things, but I was never actually wanting to apply that same thing to myself. Like I was so, if you were going through a hard time or something like that, I would be so like, oh, you're amazing, I hope you're doing well and all that. But whenever I was going through a hard time, I would be like, you're a fucking piece of shit, kid. You know,
you're never telling yourself.
So it's like you treat other people differently to how you treat yourself, and that eventually shows, because you're the only way that I was really getting through that was by people like you saying what you just said to me there, would be like, oh, I'm a really big fan of you, and that would make me feel good for like a week. Do you know what I mean?
I think you are extremely mean to yourself, mate, because, and it's not just, well, obviously it is, right? It's a main part, right? See the condition you have, see the shit you do. That's like, I don't even do that, and I'm able-bodied. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the stuff you do is fucking incredible, mate. Like, the fact you are able to still be able to have a passion around a sport, yet have a disability, that is fucking, because you notice, like, professional players, when they get injured, never mind just having a disability, the level of depression they go through, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never mind you actually having that physical condition and going, no, I'm still going to be an athlete at the end of the day. I'm still going to push this, I'm going to train. I mean, fuck me, mate, you literally motivate me when you're sitting posting these videos, you drenched in sweat, going, I've just fucking killed this workout, what the fuck are you doing? Get the finger out, let's do this. Do you know what I mean? That's extremely inspirational stuff. But there's a lot to, like, take apart from what you're saying there. Like, I'm coming up to about a year from 3 suicide attempts, like, collectively, right? And therapy quite literally changed my life. And Paul, back MD up here, it's so difficult to just initially take the first step to just go to it, because I'm like, that's gay, I'm not going, therapy's gay. I wasn't gay, I wasn't getting sucked off by a guy when I went. Do you know what I mean? I went, and the thing is, I hit the jackpot with my therapist, because I think a lot of people don't realise when they go to therapy, it's about building a connection and a trust for you to actually open up to this person. Because you can't just, well, you're not going to go there and then straight away you're going to vent every single issue and get rid of your PTSD or whatever you've got. Like, it takes a massive investment. Like, I've been doing therapy now, like, seriously, for a full year at Chris's house, and it changed my life. Like, my therapist, Heather, has changed my life, because the sheer amount of shit I didn't know about myself and what I was holding back and everything, mate. And like, I understood, like, it kind of revolves around comedy as well. So like, see, when I was like acting out at school and like I was making inappropriate jokes, I was doing all these things, it's like, that was me like putting in like a foundation of going, oh yeah, the career that you want will be there at the end. Like, me doing all that shit, because when you sit and talk to like comics, we'll say horrendous shit to each other, but then I had to like try and, I learnt a thing where I had to basically separate that from normal people, because I was losing jobs, I was losing shit. I'm not saying I was like fucking sexually harassing anyone, but I'd be like making just inappropriate jokes, mate, about like something will happen in the news, and I would just go, oh, that's funny. Do you know what I mean? And it's like a horrific thing that's happened, and then my manager would go, you're sacked because that's not funny. And I would be distraught, but oh, these people not like me and all that. You know what I mean? What the fuck's going on? I'm just trying to make people happy. And it's like, no, like, you need to rein it in for like these type of things. But then like I also went on like a pure hippie way with therapy. Like, I was experimenting with like weed and stuff, because I had a really bad time with feeling emotional. Like, I've always been really numb towards a lot of things. I mean, in the same way as like I would help you no matter what. Like, you could call me anytime and I'd be like, yep, I'm coming, I'm looking after you, I'll make sure you're okay. But then, like you're saying, within yourself, I just wasn't being nice. Like, mate, I would be smiling all day, and I'd be going home and I'd be like crying all night, like trying to cry, basically trying to force myself to cry to feel an emotional thing. And it was just because I repressed, and I had to repress because in my childhood you weren't allowed to be vulnerable or emotional, or you'd get beat or attacked or borderline nearly murdered by like my biological dad. And I didn't, and then that just repressed me for being like showing it. But then when I went to therapy, I realised like I'm a really, really, really emotional person. Like you telling me that stuff about yourself, mate, I felt myself crying. And if that was like Sean 2 years ago, I'd have just been stone faced and not been able to understand how you feel about that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like you're saying, it is just about being a bit nice like yourself and learning about yourself. Because there'll be loads of shit that guys, lassies, non-binary, whatever, don't know about themselves, and it's hiding in that subconscious. And once it starts to come out, you're like, oh fuck, like I'm feeling this. I'm really feeling these feelings for like life.
Yeah.
And mate, I remember one time, like it was this really fucking surreal moment. I went back, basically I had like a failed suicide attempt where I went to hang myself and like the tree had snapped. But I was like hanging, mate, for like 30 seconds. And I didn't regret it though. Like see when people do it and they really, really regret it. I didn't. I regretted the tree snapping. And that's me being honest now. But now I regret it. And it took me so long to be able to do that. But I had like a really cool moment where I went back to the place where I tried to like hang myself. I took my dog as like a safety precaution. So I'm not going to hang myself in front of my dog. Do you know what I mean? And then when I looked about, I was looking at it and I was going, fuck, like life's pretty cool, man. Like it's pretty cool to be alive and like get to see my bros be successful in their careers and watch my mum like fucking, do you know what I mean, just do the house cleaning. I'm like, that's fucking cool to see her do that.
Yeah.
And I do, mate, I'm glad that I managed to be able to go to therapy and fucking just kind of become myself, mate. Because it's like finding yourself again. Because, mate, I was so lost for all my life, mate. I just didn't feel at home. And then once I went to therapy, mate, it took me 2 hours to go down the stairs. I had to pep talk myself because I promised that I was going to tell my mum that I loved her and like my adoptive mother and like still my mum and like how much I appreciated everything she'd done for me like during that period of time, like the suicide attempt. It took me 2 hours, mate. That's not a normal thing, but I fucking done it. And the feeling that giving her the validation of knowing that I fucking love her more than anything and I appreciate everything she does, like that, knowing that she now knows that gives me this sense of like happiness. And I didn't have that before, mate. I just wasn't happy. I just wasn't thankful, mate, enough in realising like, oh no, like all these things are in your life, you are loved and loads of people do love you, and it does eventually get better once you kind of go to therapy and just stop being a pussy, to be fair. That's what it was. I was just like so hepped on to being the fact of I'm this guy, I will get over this, like it's inevitable. But all I was doing was repressing. And then, mate, I realised how much like I actually, like with my, that's why it's called the Files Podcast, because my dad died, but I never realised the impact that man had on my life. Like he was, and I feel like crying now, mate, because the way basically my adoptive mum and dad, like they couldn't have kids, right? So all they did was adopt and foster care their whole life. And I think that kind of brings back the full circle moment of why I wanted to do stand-up, because I wanted to bring the joy that they brought to kids. Like hundreds upon hundreds of kids that I've seen come in and through the whole time I've stayed there. My brothers, both are adopted. My sister, adopted. Everyone's adopted. And I remember breaking down in therapy just talking about how great like they were as people to be able to do that and change, like literally change so many lives. If you ask any foster child that's been with my mum and dad, they'll go, it's the best place, the most nurturing. Like you feel as though you are in a family. And I didn't realise how much I fucking, like when my dad passed, how much it fucked me. Like how much I loved that man. And that's how I kind of, as gay as it all sounds, and I can't be serious, I have to call something gay or retarded because I've not quite got over that stage in therapy to just be as open as possible. So funny, I'm even telling my therapist this, like I'm breaking down going, oh, my dad's a great man, but no homo. Do you know what I mean? But just, I'm content with knowing I'll never have, like, the stand-up career, I'm content with knowing I will never have the impact that my mum and dad would be able to, like, what they have done for me and countless hundreds of kids. But I want to be able to make people just an inch, like, a smidge as happy as they made, like all of us feel. And that's kind of why I love stand-up, mate, because it's like one of the things where I never understand why people have a go at people for having jokes. It's like, my intent is to bring nothing but joy to your face. Like, I just want to make you smile. And that was kind of how it changed stand-up for me as well, because all I was doing was trying to be this fucking dark prince, and I wasn't that wasn't me. Like, I'm just a guy, I like to be silly, fuck around. Of course I like dark humour, of course I do, like, I mix it in, but that was the thing I wasn't doing. I was just going dark, and then I was like, no, like, you weren't raised like that, you were raised to be like silly and joyful and wee bit of dark in it, mix it up. And don't know, man, I just kind of want to have that's just kind of the aim I wanted to have with stand-up. I wanted to just bring a lot of joy to people, and it took me a lot of time to just realise that it's not just like, obviously there's an exchange with stand-up. I get the validation of seeing people smile, and they get to go home smiling. So I'm like, there's nothing better than that. I just get to make people happy, and that's all I want to do. And it's the same as when I do the podcast. Like, I took shrooms basically, right? Because I wanted to. There was a lot of shit I had in the back of my head that I knew I was suppressing and I was hiding from my therapist, but I couldn't get it out. I couldn't verbally say it. So I took shrooms, and then I realised, like, I went to the gym for other people. I didn't go to the gym for myself. Do you know what I mean? And it did literally just kill a shit ton of ego. And I realised why I do the podcast the way I do it is because if I step outside and, like, somebody walks by me, the conversation isn't going to be different. It's going to be the same conversation you would hear, like, Lewis and I discuss on the pod. We'd crack a million jokes, then we would turn around to the rationalisation of a situation and go, nah, that's fucked up, I'm really sorry these people have to go through this. And I never wanted that to be any different when I met somebody. I wanted to kind of just be the same person all the time. And I'm trying to do that on stage. But that's the thing, like, when you're in stand-up, this is just given for me, who's been doing it for, no, seriously, for like 2.5 years, like 2 years. It's like you're judged from the get-go. So my first year, I was like, this mad dark comic, and I tried to be Frankie Boyle, edgy AF, do you know what I mean? And then, like, my second year, I'm like proper finding myself and, like, trying to do it, you know what I mean? Who knows, like, the third year I could be a woman, and then the fourth year I'll go back to being funny.
Oh man, you're bringing the heat on this, man.
No, see, that's the comic in me. Like, I can't not tell a fucking joke. But that's the thing, I do feel as though when you are in, like, so early in your career, you, like, in comedy, you just get judged straight away. It's like, no, I'm just learning every year. Like, Cat Williams has got that thing, he says, don't judge me on my previous special, because he's like, every special you see me, I change as a person. So that's what I kind of say, is like, every year I've been doing comedy, I have literally changed. Like, as a human being. Well,
there's so much to get in here, but I just want to go back a bit and just say, like, thank you so much for opening up on all that. I think it's cliche to say, but it is incredibly brave to talk about it. And I was just sitting here being like, man, it was genuinely so incredible what you were just saying there. Like,
I wouldn't say incredible,
mate. I'm telling you right now, that was one of I've done like 90, more than 90 podcasts of this, right? And that might be the single most amazing story I heard in my life.
No, I mean,
no, because I'm being serious, because see, when you're talking about that kind of going back to that place and having that realisation that life is good and you can and you could feel that you wanted to be alive. Mm-hmm. It's literally like, I'm listening to you and I'm like, I'm so glad, I'm just grateful that you were able to talk about it, and I'm grateful that of the words that you use, because it just shows that there's, no matter where you are, there's always is a way back. And
majorly, mate, majorly.
And like, it's so, everybody gets to this place. We talked about you know, how the idea of, like, not wanting to feel emotion and staying inside a little bit. I think that comes back to that old idea that, you know, for you need to man up, you need to be strong. And I think for me, it's like, try to redefine what being strong actually means.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
The thing is well, you go, right, I want, so, like, when I had that ego death for the shrooms about the gym, right, my gym sessions, like, drastically just changed. Because I was obsessed with, like, just lifting heavy weights. And I was like, I'm going to be the strongest guy in this fucking gym, right? I was close. Really fucking strong, right? But I was like, why? why? And it was literally because it's like, oh, what, some woman walks by with amazing Gymshark leggings and she sees me like bench 140 kilogram. Wow, who cares? Like, but then if she just likes me for that, fuck that. I don't want that. I want somebody like me because it's like, no, Sean's like funny. He loves well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a good guy. Like not the actual piece of shit he claims on the podcast and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But and then my next few gym sessions, I just went in and I was like, what do I feel like doing for myself? I was like, oh, I just want to go. If I want to push it, I'll push it, but that'll be because I want to, not because there's some dickhead in another bench like lifting 20 kilogram less than me or more than me. I'm not competing with him down here. I just want to go and I just want to kind of do it myself. And I had that thing of like, I was trying to chase a bench press record for a certain weight class to get the record for Scotland. And I was like, why do you want that? And I was like, I just want to have my name in like a history book. And I was like, no, but why? And it's like, oh, well, just validation off these other gimps. And I was like, but then what I realised was like, oh no, I will make a stamp like in history when it comes to stand up and the podcast. And the other two things that I love more than anything, like when it's career wise. So I was like, yeah, well, put the fucking thing that's going to rip your pecking to the side and just focus on what you actually fucking love.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And it's about every time that you're doing the podcast, you're doing stand up, you're changing people's lives individually. You're giving them something like they can have, you know, with comedy, laughter is so big in life. You know, you can go through a bad time and laugh at something, and it just makes you think maybe it's worth just trying a bit more. And so by doing these things you're helping people every day, and that's so common with the gym. I had virtually the exact same thing with the gym, where I was like, I started going to the gym because I knew that I was getting to the point where I couldn't really get in my chair myself. I couldn't really do anything. I was getting to the point when I was like 18, 19. All I was doing was drinking and just partying all the time and didn't really give a fuck about anything.
You're not allowed to drink drive?
Exactly. Well, I would have been a great stand-up comedian if I would have been a great stand-up comedian if I could do a stand-up.
I could literally stand. Sorry, there's a lot of crippled comics on it. Craig Craw and Matty, they two have got cerebral palsy.
Mate, I think
they're not the final form like you, but they're getting there.
the final form. No. Wow. No. I think like that. My whole reasoning initially was like, I'm not going to be able to do anything myself. This is mad. But honestly, I think that was one of the eye-opening things. But for me, I think at that point, there was when I started to get into the gym and I started to gain that independence, there was still that kind of I'd never really, like, basically when I was at school, I didn't have any success with ladies, right? And I was very sort of insecure about that because of the wheelchair and stuff. And you know, relationships and talking to women and that, it was just something that was like the most, I was so insecure about it, mate, like deeply, really insecure about it and couldn't handle it. And I think the reason you're talking about the gym and all that, I was very much the same of like, I want to get fit so I look good so somebody fancies me. And then you kind of go, I used to be the mindset of, as long as they like me, I'll make it work. Right?
Aye.
And then you end up in 2 or 3 horrible relationships and you go, that's a really bad approach.
but mate, I have had like I sympathise with you in that way, right, mate. I give off like a lot of confident vibes, right? But see if like a woman like comes at me, because mate, I realise like I'm obsessed with love. Like I would look at my friendships, relationships, and be like painfully envious because I never really felt the emotion. But then seeing the past year, like learning it, and mate, it's like women are terrifying, mate. Like, mate, fucking, I've looked at some women and I've just got that. The amount of eye contact I wouldn't make with her has defined her attractiveness here. Like, because she's like, mate, I just look at women and I go, fuck me, man. Like, God has created just masterpieces here. Do you know what I mean? And it must be some way like another gay man would look at a hot, delicious asshole the way I look at just women. Mate, and I get that and all, man. Like, but to go back on, like, because you've had a few horrible relationships, it's like, it's very bad to compare. Because that comparison thing of you going, oh well, that one was horrible, that means any kind of future woman is going to be horrible to me. And it's like, no, you've just not quite found the one that you connect with. I think there's like a crazy theory where it's like you have already met the love of your life, like the one, but she's just not came to you yet. Like, she's not appeared fully. Like, you've maybe passed her on the train or like driving. This is all mumbo jumbo because I literally sit on TikTok crying, smoking weed, listening to love poetry, mate. So this is where this is all coming from. And I do believe it, mate. And it's just they've just not came into your life yet, like well enough for you to think about it. So, like, relationships are hard to get over, mate. But that is painful. It's fucking, that was like spurred my suicide attempt on, because I had chased, like, no, I wasn't shagging about anything like that, mate. And you need to like be able to speak to women to do that. But like, I had basically like, I thought I had found like the thing that it was bringing me closer to like love and family and like all that. But then obviously what I hadn't realised is I was emotionally numb. So I must have been emotionally numb towards certain like situations that I had been going through within these relationships. I have clearly been an issue. Like, no, but I'm fine with admitting that, because I know now, like, if I was to get in a relationship, I know the standards that I would set for both of us. Do you know what I mean? I would have my what's the word you call that, Paul?
Boundaries.
Boundaries. That's it. I would have my boundaries. Like, before I didn't. Like, before I was like, you know what I mean? I didn't know any of this shit. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy, like a fucking 27-year-old man telling you that. But I just hadn't been taught it or learnt it. And that's not to say from like my adoptive mum and dad, they defo taught me it. I just repressed it. I repressed the information. And because the standard for me was, there's a very, very beautiful picture I have of my mum and dad. Like, my dad was ill at the time, right? But my mum's walking up the hill, and they're old. They're like older people. Like, my mum's 75 now, I think my dad is about 78. And there's a very beautiful moment where my mum still holds his hand, like, and they're walking up the street, and that was the standard for me now. Like, I went, no, like, that's love. Like, no matter, that is quite literally sickness and health. Like, that is what that's my just standard in a relationship. It's like, no, we need to love, and we love hard, like, in this family. That's what's happening. Yeah. And it will happen, mate. It's like inevitable for both of us. But
see, you being able to actually address that, and the same for me, like, being able to address, like, that is, you know, being able to address what you've been through, and then going, this is what I want now. Mm-hmm. I want, if I meet somebody, like, I want to love hard, and if I have kids, I want to love them hard, and I want them to feel those things that I didn't necessarily get to feel, but I'm getting to the point where I understand why that is. And for me, it was all about validation. All of it was about validation. Mm-hmm. I wanted people to compliment me and tell me that I was attractive.
You're attractive, kid.
And that, thank you. But it didn't matter if a million people said it to me. I just didn't really believe it. Do you know what I mean? And I was always like, I would go into every relationship being like, they're absolutely amazing. They've saved me, and I don't get why they'd be with me, because I'm me. Do you know what I mean? That was so you're always going into it well off balance, because you're going,
majorly. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do whatever they want, whenever they want, all the time, and I'll just do it because I'm lucky they're with me.
Yeah.
And eventually, it just doesn't work, and I had this sort of, like, in terms of actually realising about relationships, just realising all these things, whether it would be relationships or football or podcasts or anything, was all to do with wanting validation for myself, and validation of I'm not what my inner voice tells me I am. Do you know what I mean? But you realise that it doesn't matter how many people are telling you that. If you're still telling you, because there was a point, and I think a couple of years back, where like I'd had Cy Ferry on, and it kind of blew up a bit, and there was loads of people were shredding it in that, and the podcast was like booming, and I'd just done like a challenge where I did 1,000k in a month to raise money for charity. We made like a couple of grand for the Celtic Foundation, and I remember, like, so basically every part in the football we just won the Scottish Cup, and I was smashing it. So every part of my life that I'm passionate about was like, I was smashing it. I was absolutely smashing it, and I remember Paul was there the day that we finished that 1,000 kilometres, and he's sitting there, he's getting pure emotional. He's been like, well done, this is unbelievable. And I'm just pure like, aye, yeah. I'm pure like, I'm so not feeling anything.
You're
and
neutral to it.
Yeah, but the reason why was because there was a girl that I was chatting up that I liked, that it was kind of where I didn't know if she liked me or not, and it just bothered me. But like that was the only thing that I could think was, this person doesn't fancy me, and it seems like such a small thing, right? But in my head, it didn't matter if I did 1,000 kilometers or if my podcast was like doing really well or the football was going really well. I just hated myself. Like that is a prime example of realizing you just don't like yourself. And it's only now that I'm looking back on that and I'm going, I'm realising all these times that have been going really well, it's never been enough. And when things got really bad for me last year, and I had a bit of a moment kind of at the start of this year, the middle of January, I was like, this is not everything, all these things that I just mentioned, whether it be football, relationships or the podcast, it all kind of went away. And I thought, I've got nothing to turn to here to give myself that validation. And it was like this thing that came over me where I just realised I need to give myself that.
Yeah.
I'm because I've had all that stuff at the one time. I've had it when everything was booming, and it wasn't enough. Which means it's never going to be enough unless you start changing what's happening in your own head and the opinion you have of yourself in that conversation. So I felt like I was always aware of that, but I just thought it was impossible. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm aware of that being what I should do, but it's impossible. And people would say to me, this is what you need to do. And I'd be like, that's too simple. I can't just say to myself that I'm a good person. It's not going to work.
It's a start.
But it's a start that was like, for me, was so huge. And actually, like you say, going to therapy and doing all that, it totally changes your perspective. I think what we were talking about as well, there's so many guys out there that don't, when you talk about not being able to feel emotion, right, it's so, for men, I think it's just this, it comes back to this idea of we're supposed to be a certain way, we're supposed to be the caregiver and the strong person and the one that provides. And I think that you have people, you know, that are just, you know, that are kind of playing into that stereotype at big platforms, like I'm just tasting that at the world, right? But I think like real strength as a man or any human is feeling emotion. Is feeling it.
Oh, mate, crazy.
That is real strength, because see if you can't feel, see the more that you think, this is too much for me to feel this, and I just keep it in. You never, eventually everything just feels numb, because you're like, I can't, if you don't feel that emotion and let that out, then nothing, not only you're not dealing with the bad feeling you've got, but nothing ever feels good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, mate, that was and I was trying to explain this to you. I was like, you don't understand when I said numb. It was like, mate, I could literally have fucking, like you were saying, I got 1 billion views on one video, and I'd have went, that'd have been my reaction. But then now, mate, like if I got 1 billion reaction, like I would fucking cry, mate. I'd cry and I'd bring Paul over, I'd fucking embrace him. I'd be like, mate, look at what we've just done. Do you know what I mean? Like, and there's that thing and all, like the more you bury it down, right, the less likely you are to react to, like you're saying, to good things, right? I never wanted to be like, when I inevitably will have a child, right, I didn't want to have the feeling of like when I hold that baby, I didn't feel the love for that baby. Like I didn't feel how my biological father felt towards all of us. I never wanted to have that feeling. I never wanted to, like, what's the word?
Put that on them kind of thing?
No, it was like, we were clearly a burden to that man's drug and alcohol use. So the only way he could vent that out was by beating us until we nearly died. Right? And I never wanted to be even a sniff of what that man was. I wanted to be everything that my adoptive father was. The loving man who would sit up, like, my adoptive dad, like, it's one thing that I tell my mum that I miss all the time, was like, he would he used to do like nights, he used to be like a security guard and like do various shifts. So say he had a shift at 5 o'clock in the morning and I didn't come in till like 5 to 5, he would still be waiting up He'd be late to his job just so he could hear how my night went and so he knew I was safe for being home. Now, if that was my biological father, he would have been comatose on the couch, on heroin, alcohol, and if I came in a second late, I wouldn't have. I was like a fucking child, but I'm saying if I did, he would quite literally have killed me. Do you know what I mean? And I never wanted to have that numbness feeling towards my child.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like my adoptive father and have like a proper, beautiful, loving family. So that's how I was like, I need to go do this. I need to go for all my friends' sake, for all my family, my future family, because it's just, it wouldn't have worked, mate. Life wouldn't have worked. Like I would be dead, mate, again. Like I would be hanging from a tree. I'd make sure I would get a secure one. Do you know what I mean? If I didn't do this, like it was so, mate. It was so frustrating because like I was basically just mimicking how I thought people wanted me to emotionally be in certain situations. I never actually felt that emotion. So I would be like watching a film and go, oh, that's the emotion that I need to show for this situation. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then that's what I'm saying. Everyone would think like I'm just this pure happy guy. And I'm going home, mate, and I'm like fucking trying to rip my hair out, mate, because I'm like, I need to feel something here, but I can't. Do you know what I mean? Mm. It was just fucking painful, mate. It was just so painful to be alive. And that was another reason why I basically just wanted to end it, because I was like I'm so frustrated, like mentally. I didn't know what to do. And but aye, mate, and that it's class that you're saying that to me, because it makes other guys go, oh fuck, like there's more guys out there that kind of feel that way. Like how do I better myself here, and how can I? And then just listening to us, like just trying to urge people to just learn about yourself. It's not even about just going to therapy. It's just learn about yourself. What makes you tick? And see, the thing is, you're talking about like it's fine. Like it's so human to have the highest of highs, to have the lowest of lows. But it's like we're with our brains, when we have the lows, or even when we have the highs, our brain wants to focus on the low. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Because it's human to go have a bad day, good day, bad day, good day. Do you know what I mean? Yin yang. It goes up and down like a yo-yo. It has to to function as a human. But with us, we just want to be low. Like our brain, like we go back into, what's the fucking word? I'm losing all my words. I've smoked too much weed lately. But you just basically go back into that state.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that therapy does. It goes, no. Here's you recognising it, and here's the tools to make sure you can be all right with having a bad day. Do you know? That's what basically it comes into.
It's so true. Cause the key is it makes your bad day barometer like further up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm not having the greatest day, but I don't feel horribly shitty about myself. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I can have a bad day, but still be like, I'm alright, I'm a good person.
And that's how that's how the average normal person's brain works. Mm-hmm. That's how it should work, but there's obviously something in our brain that just doesn't want that.
And it's a lot of it is people feeling like it's just them. And that's the thing, is suicide is the biggest killer of people our age.
Yeah.
It's not like a minority of people. It's a pandemic in itself, that whole thing. Like the actual kind of mental health crisis that's going on, and it just stems from people feeling that this is something that only they're experiencing, which is why these kind of conversations are so powerful, and the way you spoke about this stuff is incredibly powerful, mate. And like, you should be so proud of yourself, honestly. It's like, I'm
doing alright, mate. I hate being this serious, but it's like, I feel as though like when we're on the fatherless, there's no room for this.
Yeah.
Because we are just like, and I don't want that to be that, and I hate being this serious on this, but it's because you've been so open as well. I just want you to know that, like, as gay as it sounds, mate, you actually aren't alone though, because like, I am, Paul is a text away, I'm a text away. I'd always be there, like, for anything, because you know the struggles.
Yeah. No, it's my, and I really appreciate you saying that. I'm really grateful for that. I think, like, I didn't expect to get this serious as well, mate, but it's just it's really amazing how organically it's kind of happened that way. It wasn't necessarily, and I think, you know, for me, even just like getting back into the gym and stuff like that, and doing it for me rather than for some sort of validation. And when because like last year the person that passed away was like my best pal, right? We were like really tight. And it was very sudden, and it was like, like, for me, it just felt like I was done. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm alive, but I'm just sort of going through the motions all the time.
You lost your bro, mate. I don't think people understand the fucking level of borderline homosexuality two best male straight friends are. Like genuinely, the level, like the love I have for like my bro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is more that I could probably have for my wife.
Well,
you know what I mean?
See, for me, for the longest time, I was just like, why couldn't it be me? Do you know what I mean? That was what I thought. I was like, I wish I could have just switched positions with him, because it was so horrible what happened to him. But I think, like, for me, it was about like see coming through that and real, you know, being kind to myself and saying to myself that I do have value. I do, you know, I can bring something positive to the world, but I need to give myself that validation first. I can't keep seeking it from other people.
Yeah.
And even just yesterday, mate, I did a workout and I finished my workout. I'm drinking some water and a song comes on, and I don't even remember what the song was, but I had a wee moment where I was just like kind of dancing a wee bit and singing the song. And I thought, this is amazing. I'm so glad I'm alive.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't, even when I've done well, I don't really remember having moments like that where I was just myself. You know, nobody else is watching me. There's no one else there. And I'm just feeling good to be here. And it's like, there's always going to be bad times, but to see the more that you are able to give yourself that validation and be kind to yourself, it allows you more space to actually have joy in your life. Mm-hmm. You need to face the things you're suppressing in order to feel that feeling of like, I'm alive, this is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much beauty and so many great things that I could do and experience, and by being the best way you can help, like, it's the clichéest thing ever, but the best way you can help other people is being like fulfilled by yourself first.
Yeah.
You can't give people love if you don't love yourself, and that is, it's the most cliche thing ever, but it's also just so true. And I spent so long trying to do that for other people, and but in the meantime, just not giving an ounce of it to myself, and realising that, like, you know, it feels impossible, but it really isn't. It really isn't. See, like, every morning I wake up and I'll lie in bed first before I move, before I do it, and I'll say things I'm grateful for. I'll say I'm grateful for the fact that I'm grateful for the fact that I woke up, and that I'm here, and that I can go and do whatever I want to do in my day and make the most of it. And we get to do things that are, you know, doing a podcast and having conversations like this and being present in this moment. Doing podcasts before, I would be doing a podcast and thinking, what am I doing after this? Or what's the rest of my day looking like? Whereas right now I'm just completely present in this, and that's what makes this feel different to every other time that I've had these ups and downs. Is I really feel like I'm being more present in the moment. Like I used to have it where I had to do a workout before coming here. I had to do a workout before the podcast.
Get a pump, mate. Get your pump on.
Otherwise, the podcast I would be kind of just letting you speak and just kind of sitting back and not saying anything. Whereas I didn't have time to do a workout this morning, and I'm able to come in here and actually feel present and enjoy the conversation without having had a pump before it. And I know I trust myself enough to know I'm going to go and do it later, or and not, not fly off the handle. Like, what, something I was quite curious about what you were saying about, going through that kind of abuse with people that had addiction and stuff like that. Is that something? How do you sort of see, like, alcohol and drugs and things like that? Is that something that you've? Because I'm quite an addictive personality, so it's something I've realised that for me, something that's very key is to be sober from all things, and that includes weed as well. I mean, I did enjoy it for a period, but I had to. But I knew myself enough to know it was like, I need to not do any of this, because it's not. I don't have, for whatever reason, I just didn't have control of it. And I think the more I go in the process of self-acceptance and valuing myself, maybe that'll change. But right now, I'm like, you need to know this is a no-go zone for you.
I don't. Well, I gave up after Christmas Day, basically drinking. I had been thinking about it a wee bit before, and I'd been talking to my therapist about it, because I have the potential to be an alcoholic, and I know that because of the way I drink. Like, you probably hear it a lot for people who say this shit, who have alcohol issues and that. When I drank, or do drink, I don't have one. I can't comprehend how somebody does it. It's the second it touches my lips, I'm off. Like, mate, I remember one night I drank like 25 drinks, like Jack Daniel Coke from, the fuck's it called? Some pub around here, right? And I don't know, mate. And my therapist told me I don't like alcohol because I don't like not being in control of my own brain. So when I drank, I became a different person. Not in the way of like in a bad way, but I became something where I was like, oh, I'm doing a lot of shit here that if I was sober or sober Sean was looking at drunk Sean, I would turn around and go, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Like, stop that. But I don't, I think a lot of people have this like they think I hate people who drink or take drugs, given the past tense of like all my biological brothers are drug addicts, addicted to gambling. They take basically after what my biological father was, and I never wanted to be able to control that. So once I started kind of looking at that, and I don't judge anybody, but I go, yeah, you do what the fuck you want to do, mate. It's not like I control my life. I don't control yours, mate. I was like, if you have an issue with it, like you feel as though it is a crutch, I will be here to comfort you and help you get over this. But if you just fucking like doing it, just do it in front of me. I don't care. Like, I'm not a mad weirdo. Like, I can't believe you guys are doing drugs. Like, but once I seen kind of all of that, and once I started to like your therapy and you're learning about yourself, I kind of just realised I was like, alcohol doesn't really benefit me, right? But when I take weed benefits me, as it opens a bit in my brain that I have closed off so much. Like, I've had that bit closed off in my brain, I think, since I was 2-year-old. So when I was able to be cognitive of what was occurring around me in my biological family's home, that's when my brain went, nope, it's too real. We have to shut this off. Because bear in mind, mate, I sat and watched, I got a knife through my hand for not eating potatoes, like mashed potatoes, at like the age 3 or something. I witnessed all my brothers get beat upon death. One of my brothers lost half vision in his eye from coming in and telling our biological dad that he got a trial for Rangers, and he grabbed a can of soup and beat him until death, basically. So, and basically within therapy you get taken down, you have to get taken into the room again. So I had to relive all of that again. So I've got like very complex PTSD, like in my head for all that. So like that's how I get weirder in blood, because when I was a baby, I was in piles of it, like whether it be my own or my siblings. So, do you know, I don't even know where I'm going with this. But having to go back into that room and be that little boy again was scary, mate, because I'm like so vulnerable. But then when I take weed, it helps kind of just open it, like to let the child in me like out, to go, you're all right to come out here. That is the past. This is the present now. You're okay, mate. And that was the thing I couldn't, when I hadn't had therapy or wasn't experimenting with stuff to figure out who I was, I couldn't get in that barrier. I was always getting in the room with my childlike self, and he was kicking me out. He was going, it's too real in here, mate. It's way too real. Do you know what I mean? I just grew up with utter violence. That was it. Just violence and poverty. And that's the kind of thing that, I watched Paul talk about it on Gavin's pod, about the Chat Shit Get Cancelled pod. And it is like, poverty does bring a shit ton of depression. Like, that's a major issue now in just society. Like, no money can cause that, and no money can cause violence, can cause all that. I'm not saying that's why my dad did that. My dad was just a raging fucking lunatic, obviously. But I don't know, mate. Just kind of all the things, you just kind of have to. It's difficult to not, like you're saying, be present. I was always struggling with being present, like in life.
And it just goes to show that if, like, I think the thing is there, if you don't actually realise that and face that and process it, and like you say, be like, that was the past, I'm alright now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big reason why it's hard to be present, because you're always living in the past.
Oh, always, mate. Aye. And I just was there because I was just a scared little boy, mate, my whole life. That's all I was. And I was just craving motherly and fatherly love. And I
love you, mate.
I know, mate. And that's why I hate saying that to my mum, like my adoptive mum and dad. Like, I need to basically say biological and adoptive so people don't know. But they did give me that. But I was so unwilling to accept it. And I only managed to accept it like a year ago. That is one thing that I've accepted, but I can't deal with it, and like my brain's not ready to accept that I never got to tell my dad that. Like, I never got to go at him, by the way, I know you love me and I love you, thanks for everything. Because I was just broken at the time, mate. But I'm not now, and that's the thing, I avidly try and tell my mum. It's crazy. Yeah. A 27-year-old grown man, but I avidly have to still like hype myself up to tell my mum once a week, like, I love you, by the way. Like, I love you, I love everything you do.
It's so not easy, but it's something that it's incredibly rewarding. And
oh, mate, it's crazy. The feeling is fucking, like, you would have felt that as well. Like, see, dancing around and just being silly and being yourself, but being so comfortable in doing that, and you've turned around and you've just went, oh, life is class. See, once you actually get to that proper euphoric feeling, that feeling, it's fucking indescribable, mate.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, back to the addiction thing, I just don't, like, you know, where you go, I can't do that, I can't do anything, because it'll just spiral me. Whereas I go, oh, I don't think I could do alcohol, but one drug seems to work with me now. And when a time that doesn't, that's when you have to try and step back and go, it's not working anymore.
Well, everyone reacts to it differently, is the thing. And everyone has different needs. I was just always somebody that would use things as a clutch and needed everything was kind of, whether it was weed or anything else, was just a distraction for me from how I was actually feeling. But I'm so glad that it kind of has helped you in that way. And I think that, you know, when we're talking about this, it's so amazing to me how, like, when you actually do, like, it's just everything we're talking about, it's just so amazing to be sitting here talking about these kind of things, and how much, because you're talking about how hard it is to tell people that you love them and things like that. It is, but when you mentioned about, like, processing the fact that you didn't get to say that to your dad, I think as well, something that just struck me as you said it was just like, mate, I think he and everyone in your life would be just so proud of you for what you've done. And
I don't agree.
I mean, honestly, I just want to say that because it's like, I don't even really, we haven't hung out a lot.
No, which we should have, man, definitely.
But I'm just like, you have so much to be proud of, and I'm sure if he was here, he would be so proud of you, mate. So I just wanted to say that without trying to make you agree. I just wanted to say that. And let's kind of, because this, it feels like it's been about 5 minutes, but it's probably been about
this has just been a therapy session for us.
I know. Wow, that's got real deep.
But I need to tell this joke before it's been in my head the whole time.
Okay.
So see, like, you know how you're looking for like a girlfriend, like, would you like go to like the amusements and like try and find a hot claw machine?
You've been wanting to do that all the time.
Mate, the second you said girlfriend, it just came in my head. I was like, I need to say something.
I just want to say that I want to say for the record, I am not looking for a girlfriend. I mean, in the sense of like, do you know what's nice, mate? It's the first time in my life that I'm not looking for it.
That's class, mate.
Like, and it's so weird, because it's like you would get this huge rush of validation from people being interested in you, and now rather than being like, you know, oh, they liked me so much, this is great, I would be like, I'm more like, do I like them?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how that change is going to change your life, when you're confident enough and comfortable with yourself enough to go, I know that I have a lot to offer, so that I actually like what this person's giving me. And it changes and people you're with, if you go on dates, that they know, they can feel that for you.
Yeah.
So it changes. So actually, that thing that you usually chase comes at you a lot easier, because they know you're not desperately wanting it.
Yeah.
So it's a weird sort of shift in that.
I learned, this is a pure class thing, like, I can't remember where I fucking learnt it from. Probably my mum or dad, to be fair. But it's like this thing when, so relationships, right, they're meant to just add on to your life. Like, they're meant to add on. Like, your life is meant to be how it is now, like how great you feel within yourself, life's good, career's doing well, etc., right? But that person's meant to come in and just make that fucking amazing life that you have just even better. They're not meant to come in and then like dictate, no, you're not doing this, not this, not deteriorate it. Both of yous are meant to like bring better things, like make what you already have better. Exactly. So I never understand when people just settle. They go, well, you know, I suppose like I enjoy having sex with her. And you go, that can't just be it. Like when I look at somebody and like obviously the attraction's there, right? Both like sexual chemistry's great, but then I also want to be like, how does this person like really just fucking like grasp me? Like how I like when I fall for somebody, like I'm fucking all, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what you should be. It shouldn't just be, oh, I suppose like we're the last two people here, we may as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no point in saying because it devalues what you believe as well and yourself. So that's another way, like what you're talking about. That's also thinking bad of yourself. If you go, oh, I suppose I'll just be with them, or do you know what I mean? It should be, no, I want to. Like, I want nothing more than them to be in my life because they better it so much.
100%, mate. I couldn't have said it better myself. And,
guys, this is the most serious I will ever be.
I want to go back to I want to go back to comedy a little bit because you spoke about comedy being finding that home, and then obviously your sort of journey the past year. Has it? Do you feel like comedy now for you doing it and actually being able to sort of feel like you know yourself that much more? Mm-hmm. Has it made it that much more enjoyable and fun for you? Like being comfortable about yourself on stage. Is it changing the way that you sort of feel when you're on stage?
But that could correlate with just having more time. Like, I've had another year of stage time, so I have got comfortable as an act on it. But the thing is, like, I hate actually being serious on this because when you have comics come on stuff, or like when I see comics on stage, the whole aim for us should be, this is funny. That's it. Mm-hmm. It's not a fucking TED Talk. We're not getting serious. Like, anything.
This could be a TED Talk.
No, easily, mate, easily. But, like, when I'm on stage, I'm like, no, what's the silliest thing, like, I can think of here? And how can I make this relatable and, like, funny as fuck? That's it. It's like when you watch Ricky Gervais and these guys, it's like the comedy has become less. Like, they have forgot the comedy. Because the main aim, that's all it is. You're a stand-up comedian. What is the key word in that? Comedy. Like, comedian.
So it's not stand-up? Because I thought it was...
No, mate, you can sit down, you can fucking do what you want, mate. Like, I've seen numerous guys do crazy shit on stage, mate.
Because you spoke about how... But, so, like, doing the comedy, I'm so happy for you that you're able to be, like, know yourself that way and just enjoy things more. But like you spoke about Chris's house and how obviously the therapy there has made a huge impact on you, and I just you would mention that in messages how you're looking at doing a comedy event for Chris's house. Is that?
Yeah, well, I felt because it's free, so I haven't had to pay for anything, man, and it's obviously it's in crisis, right? So you're meant to go there for a while, and then obviously I was still having to go to the NHS and do routine checks and stuff and wait 18 months. It's like that classic joke. It's like Frankie Boyle goes, if you phone up the suicide helpline, they'll tell you, we'll get you an appointment in 2 weeks or something. And he goes, that'd be ideal if you were planning on tanning your wrist with a banana. Do you know what I mean? And that was and obviously they're massively overrun. Yeah. Like, they're fucked. Basically, the NHS, so I don't have hatred towards them for this. They have been given the system. It's all they can work with. Like, get off their backs. What more do you want them to fucking do? They're trying, man. They're trying. And basically, I got told, because of the complex PTSD, I had like fucking 6 to 8 months to wait. And but I was still going to Chrissy's house. And basically, you're only meant to really be at Chrissy's house for 8 to 12 weeks till they kind of find you someone, like an actual, like, resident through the NHS, basically. Like, they are all licensed professional therapists. They all do their own day job and then they volunteer at night. That's how beautiful these people are. Not only are they helping people throughout the day, they're giving up all their free time that they could have with family, do you know what I mean, etc., etc. And they're coming and making sure you're okay. And basically, I've been there for that 12 weeks and they just kept me on because Heather vouched for me. She was like, no, I need to be with this guy. Like, I need to make him better. Like, he's showing all these signs that he wants to. And I was, mate, like, with stand-up, man, as well, there's never been something that I've worked so fucking hard at in my life that had so much rejection. And that's the thing, that's like the beautiful thing with stand-up. It's like, the more you persevere, the more rejection you will get, but at the end goal, you'll be fucking great, because we need the rejection. You need to be kept intact with things. You need to be told, that's not on, you're better than that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've fucked so many things, like, comedically, with just crazy wild jokes, just for stuff that's coming out my head, and I just say it off the cuff, and I think, oh, that'll be a bit, I could do it, and then I fuck it. And that's what goes back to the being judging thing. I'm just learning this craft. Like, I'm trying to be better every time I step on the stage. I'm avidly working. Like, I've never, mate, every job I've been in, I fucking hated. I can't express that enough. I love the people, right? Some people are lovely to work with, like in River Island, like Oak Furnishland, all these places. But at the end of the day, I fucking hate the work. But then my stand-up, mate, I would wake up and gladly write jokes all day, try and work on things, add things. Mate, the level of obsession is fucking crazy for it. I'm literally obsessed with this. I can't stop thinking about it. That's how, like, in said environments, I'm always just thinking of bits. Like, I'm trying to think of, how can I make this situation funny? How can I make this person across for me laugh? You know what I mean? That sounds like jobs I've been, like, taking in and going, how the fuck did you say this? And I'm like, oh, well, actually, I was just trying to make the person laugh and I thought it was kind of off the cuff. Do you know what I mean? And then they're like, you can't do that, mate. You know what I mean? And that was the thing that I just hated, being, like, so judged by certain peers and stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, why are you caring about me? You're over here. Like, you're already where I want to be. Like, you don't have to have a go at me and try and tear me down. I'm just trying to learn. And I'm hyper obsessed with this craft. And stand-up's one of the weird things, right? See, for the first, it could be like fucking 10 years, mate, right? For 10 years, I pay to gig. This is the thing people forget. Like, I have, mate, I'll just be honest, I have fucking negative money in my account from just trying to pursue this. I went up to Aberdeen to do a weekend, right? The only money I had was to pay to get there and for the 2 hotels. That sounds privileged as fuck, right? But it was like 75 quid collectively, right? And I was maybe only getting that back. But I was like, I don't care. I was like, this is an experience. I'm going to learn from this. I'm getting a first booked weekend. You know what I mean? And yeah. I just couldn't. I would spend, like, this is a crazy thing, right? I would spend £40,000 just to gig for like 30 seconds. Right? If that was my last £40,000, they went, but this 30 seconds could potentially change your life. But I'm investing every penny into this.
That just shows you, though, you can never stop. You can never stop going for that, because you found your passion, you found your calling, and like, it's amazing to hear. Like, I think we would have seen. I wanted to get your opinion as well on, like comedy venues and like comedians kind of getting shafted a wee bit. We obviously know what happened to Pavilion and with Dad.
That thing with Darren is just fucking retarded, mate. You've already got a contract obligation with Darren. He's signed the paper. Tickets are selling. He'd have sold it out. You just cost that man his dream. That's the guy's dream. Can you imagine us sitting here now? Some guy just walks in that door and goes, see everything your entire life is revolved around and that you've built your entire life around? I just gotta take that. And we're gonna give it to the fucking singing kettle.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a singing kettle or whatever it is, but that's fucking ridiculous. No, Darren should be in there. It should be sold out. He should be recording his special. He should be releasing it. He should be blowing the fuck up everywhere. And he should be finally getting the respect that he deserves. Because Darren's a unique comic. Darren's a comic everyone looks at and goes, I can't ever be that. That guy's so good. And he's so unique in the way he does it. And that is the fucking really beautiful thing about comedy, right? It's like, I can watch Frankie Boyle be this Dark Lord, do all that, right? But then I look at it and go, oh, but nobody else can do that. Like, the way his voice is, the way he writes, the weirdness and everything he suits. And then you go the polar opposite, and you watch Darren, and you just look at that and you go, this is so weirdly unique and beautiful what I'm watching here. And, mate, that doesn't just hurt Darren. Like, I can't imagine how he feels, but that hurts Ollie. That hurts me, because I'm watching a very good friend lose his dream. Like, that's so upsetting, mate. Like,
and it can happen to any comic out there
at any time.
and I just wanted to shine a wee bit of light on that, because I love Dan, and I think it's somebody that's worked incredibly hard for that, like you say. I think it can happen to anybody, but if you've got a contract and you booked an event and put somebody selling tickets to do it like that, I think Pavilion were really out of order, and I just wanted the people that watch us to kind of go and show him some support and
solidarity, mate.
And hopefully we can just kind of show Pavilion that Dan has a voice and deserves to be treated better than that, because I was really gutted for him. He's coming in here after us, and we've probably been talking. I mean, Paul's probably sitting there sweating, going, "These guys need to wrap up soon, man." And I have no idea how long we've been talking, right? And there's like a million things that I feel like we could just keep going for.
Probably, yeah.
But like, I just want to tell you, like, this has been genuinely so incredible, and I've been wanting to get back into doing one-on-one podcasts for months, and like I say, it wasn't too long ago, but I just felt like I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get back to this, but see, being able to be here and just enjoying this experience, I'm excited to do it more, and I appreciate everything you said, and I'm just grateful for this conversation, and I'm proud to even just know you, mate. So thank you.
Don't be daft, mate.
I really am.
I'm just a normal guy, mate. I'm just trying to figure things out. And you could get a guy in the street, mate. He'd be the same.
But the thing about the normal guy thing is that, see, when you say you're just trying to figure things out, that's people. There's a lot of normal people out there that aren't doing that, and I think this conversation can hopefully give people the push to go, I can sort myself out here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing bigger you can do with your life than that. So thank you so much for sharing everything that you spoke about.
Thank you to you too, mate. There's a key thing that I clicked onto that you should always kind of remember. Now, this shows how much a beautiful human you are. You'd rather give your own life than your best friend's. That's a very powerful thing to say, mate. And not a lot of people would say that, even about their fucking closest friends.
Yeah.
So the fact you would put yourself in that position and wish he was still here than you is fucking crazy, mate.
I appreciate that. And do you know, actually, it's the first time that I've been able to talk about him without, like, on a podcast, without just combusting.
Yeah, of course, mate. Just shows how much he meant to you. But
it's really nice to be able to speak about him and not feel like I can't do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's been a long process of therapy and dealing with what's going on in my head, and I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud of this conversation. So just, is there anything you want to kind of end on, mate? Anything you want to wrap up on?
No, what would you do, mate? I just fall on kilt myself like in the middle of the end of this pod. Just after we talk so positively, I just go, you know what? Boom, balloon, my friends.
at least wait till tomorrow or something.
Come on, got a gig the night, I know, mate. You know what I mean? No, mate. That was very serious, the thing, man. But I appreciate it, mate.
What's so funny about it, mate, is my plan when I came in here, nobody will, I swear to God, my plan was to go, so welcome to the All About Ability podcast, everybody. Sean, what's happening with Cat Williams? What's the deal with Cat Williams?
Mate, that guy's crazy. Cat Williams is wild, isn't he?
That was literally my whole plan was to go. No, because mate, the algorithm is going crazy for that guy.
Oh, mate, it'll be popping, then.
And he's everywhere, but he's literally everywhere, and it makes me think that he is a part of the alumni, and it's all a simulation.
Do you want me to tell you, Paul, have you still got time?
I've got 10 minutes.
Right. Can I tell you how Cat Williams is just full of shite?
Okay.
Right. Cat Williams had a tour coming up, wasn't selling well, went on Club Shay Shay, just said every generic thing Andrew Tate would say about the Illuminati, but just revolved it around black comedians. That's all he did. And then his tour sold out. Went on Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan shat it because he didn't go, who's the fucking 6 comics that are shite then that I'm promoting?
I couldn't believe he never asked that question.
Didn't ask anything, mate. It was pash. It was just 2 guys stoned talking about conspiracies the whole time. It was pash. And then the thing isn't all like going, Kevin Hart's an industry plant. When has there ever been lines out? Kevin Hart literally sold out, I think it was the American Stand, eight nights. I Aye, 8 shows in the span of 3 days. And do you know how that's factually true? Because it's literally factually true. There's fucking photographic evidence, there's statements. And then Kevin also, he goes, how do you know about he said the N-word or something, going into Hollywood and they already got a movie or something lined up? Kevin Hart had about 3 failed movies and a failed TV series and that before it. The guy just hustled. And then the dress thing, it was just funny. He looked funny in a dress. Yeah. What isn't? That's it.
This is amazing, right? Because I never thought of it like that, but the way you just put that, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense because Cat Williams is a really funny comedian, right?
Yeah, well, Pimp Chronicles is one of the best stand-up specials ever.
But I watched that podcast. I think it might be the most highest used podcast ever done.
Oh, mate, it's crazy.
It went so viral to a ridiculous level.
Yeah.
I think it got like 50 million views and it was just mental like that. But I'm watching it and I'm going, what is all of this just him going, like, talking about these mad conspiracies, but in a way that's not as outlandish as Andrew Tate? It's more like you're listening to him and going, maybe he's right about this. And just as you're talking about that, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it was.
The thing is as well, when he goes, Cedric the Entertainer stole jokes, this guy stole jokes, that you go, yeah, it's comedy. People do it all the time. Literally all the time. I would never ever do it. I would rather retire for stand-up than use someone else's joke.
That's going to be a clip that says, just the caption's going to be, Sean says that Cat Williams is a fraud.
He is, mate. He's just full of shite, mate. It's just, people are like just so blinded. It's just a marketing tool. That's all he was doing. And him mentioning Joe Rogan was a way of him getting on Joe Rogan. That was it. Like, cunts are just forgetting, Joe Rogan is the biggest promotional tool for a stand-up comic. Because once you go on Joe Rogan, you're actually funny. Do you know what I mean? You can get a good laugh, you get a good viral clip out of it. Your tickets, your tour. It
actually shows how smart he is. That he was out of the public eye for a while, right? And then he looked at the landscape and goes, "How can I just catch everyone's attention at the one time?" And so he goes on this podcast, and it's like it blows up in such a crazy way because he it's almost like he knew exactly how to get people to talk about it.
Oh, he did, eh?
But he came across that guy. Like, you know how that way, it all sort of seems like he's saying it off the cuff or spontaneously, but then you look at it and you go,
pre-rehearsed.
He's definitely planned that out.
It's also one of the things where you go, it's like, have you ever watched, I think it's like Fresh and Fit or something, right? And they basically get all these fucking retarded women, right? Women who are idiots, literal dipshits.
People are going to tear me apart for not pulling you up and saying...
I know you don't like the word, mate. I know I shouldn't.
No, it's fine. But like,
then I feel as though, see if I don't use it in front of you, do you know what I mean? Then
well, it's not even that. It's just that it's not... because I understand the context of how you're using it. You're not... I
would never, ever, ever, let me be clear, call a gay person in an aggressive way, "Oh, you're gay." And I would never call a disabled person, go, "Oh, you're retarded." I use it for people who are actually being retarded and gay about things. Right?
But it's basically another word where you're basically saying somebody's been daft or silly.
And I probably should use it.
The reason why I've just had to do that because I feel like people are going to listen to this and be like, why is he not pulling up for that? Right? And it's just because I understand the context of how you're saying it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to mention that because I feel like there's people that I know that are going to listen to this and be like, call me out for not calling you on it.
Yeah, you call me out, mate. That's just the beautiful thing about being human.
Do you know what I mean?
You disagree with each other?
Because I know you don't mean it in the way that people are going to. Some people will take it.
Yeah, my intent is not to hurt.
Exactly. But that's why I'm not saying it about it. And also, I'm just not saying it because it's just not a word that I would use. But
of course, mate. Of course.
I understand. You
use the N-word a lot, though.
Right? Don't tell people I'm part of the cake again.
Sorry, mate. Sorry. But the Fresh and Fit is basically they get on, and this is what I feel like with Cat Williams and like Andrew Tate. The people they get on their shows are idiots, like actual idiots, and then they look amazing in it by trying to school them. And it's like, no, you get MD with half a brain on that show. They're schooling you on it, like the Fresh and Fit people, but you can never trust a woman. And it's like, maybe the ones you hang about with. Yeah, because they're all fucking OnlyFans models. But like the average woman isn't this fucking malicious like piece of shit degrading men and all that. It's like, No, mate, it's not that deep. Like, you've just picked retarded women to come on this show, and that's what I think the cat, like, Club, that Shannon Sharp, right? He should have been retaliating, going, no, but what about this and this and that? He's just thinking, no, the monetization of this is greater than me proving him wrong here.
Mate, he did exactly what I would. I would just be sitting there like, let him just say whatever he wants.
Let him cook, mate. I couldn't have, mate. I couldn't have.
Mate, I could no, but I mean, like, see when he's doing that, I'm like, there's a part of that guy that the interviewer will be going, I'm making bank for me saying
Oh,
that.
mate, he's sitting looking at that the entire time. Every word that comes out of Cat Williams' mouth, he's like, there's £1,000. There's £1,000.
I couldn't believe that Joe Rogan didn't ask him about the naming him and all that.
Joe Rogan's a pussy, mate, sometimes.
He did that with The Rock. See the podcast?
Rock's terrible.
Mate, I have no discourse against The Rock. I love The Rock, right? And see when he was on the Joe Rogan, I was so excited for it. I was so excited for it. And I was like, why does this feel like The Rock's interviewing fucking Joe Rogan rather than like, ask him some questions?
But then the thing is, The Rock's marketing team would have already fired over to Joe what he can and can't ask.
Aye, but
and that's why I go, Joe, you're meant to be the person who goes, no, this is my platform. Like we say, do what we want. Nothing will be censored. Then literally quite a lot of the previous guests he's had on, it has all been censored stuff.
Yeah, it is mad because he gives off this idea that he's pure anything goes and that he can talk about anything he wants. But then it's like I was so buzzing for him to ask The Rock all these interesting questions about his life and all that, and I'm like, they're talking about what cars to drive and all that.
Nobody wants to hear that.
And I'm
shit.
like, I want to know more about The Rock.
I want to know about his alcohol addiction.
Oh, well.
His pain pill addiction, like back in the day.
I know,
like,
but
for WWE.
I want to know more about what happened at WWE backstage when Vince was on top. How crazy he
mate,
was. That.
These backstories would have been wild.
I know, like, so this is what that really bothered me, that episode. But anyway,
I'm not saying, by like, just to be clear, I am a massive Joe Rogan fan. Like,
yeah.
But you are also allowed to critique the guy.
Exactly. Can I also just say, Cat Williams, Joe Rogan, The Rock, we love you all, right?
Hi.
We love you all. And if Cat, if you listen, you can come on anytime, mate.
Hey, I've been picked up on like stuff and that's what you want. You want people to go like hold you accountable for stuff, and actually like that's what I'm saying about the whole point about being human.
Yeah.
It's about disagreeing with one another and like finding out about each other. Like,
Exactly.
that word retard, like you don't like it, but then if like you and I sit and have a conversation about why you don't like it, why I use it, do you know what I mean? That's how it betters me as a human.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you, rather than just going, like I said that word, I'm never talking to him again.
Well, it's just exactly that there needs to be a way of getting a mutual understanding of something.
Of course, mate.
Like,
Aye.
and there's always going to be things you disagree on, but it's not. But it's about, instead of me getting raging, you saying that, right?
Aye.
Like being like, "How dare you?" It's more about me. It's more about being able to have the emotional awareness and intelligence to understand someone's context of what they're saying.
Well, that's therapy, mate. And that's the thing, like, have you ever done this lately? Like, somebody will be arguing with me and I'll just be like so calm and in my manner and I'm just talking to like how we are. And then they'll get more angry and I'll be going, they'll be like, why are you staying so calm? I'm like, well, I'm pretty chill about this situation, mate. Like, we all, I just want to learn for your side. Calm the fuck down and tell me what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. But our pal Dan is coming in next, so I'm going to...
The legend, Dan, I know, mate.
But I know you've not got a date yet, but I know that you're planning an event to help raise money for the Christmas house. Is that right?
I just want to give back to them, mate, because they've gave me life. They've let me live again.
No, exactly. And we'll when that comes out and you finalise that, we'll put out all the stuff and
it will be at Blackfriars though, because I have spoke to the guy that owns it.
Okay.
We're just waiting on a date. I need to wait for the festival.
Does it have wheelchair access?
No, not for you.
Oh,
for anybody else with a wheelchair, but absolutely.
See, after all the things we could have cried about, now you've actually made me cry with myself.
No, sorry, bro.
Thank you so much for that. No, listen to. Thank you so much for this. This has been a really, really fun time and so like exactly what I started the podcast for. Really, we are. You know, people would look at the two of us going down the street and think
that adds up. A ginger and a cripple. That definitely adds up.
But it's like. See, that's the thing. That's the thing with being disabled, right? It's so stigmatized. It's so in the corner of society. Like people that don't know people with disability would just see us and go like, and it's almost like we're aliens. We're like, what, you know,
crazy.
But that is, it's because of the lack of awareness, the lack of coverage that we have. There's a lot of stigma to what we can and can't do and things like that. And I just think that. When you can have conversations like this, the whole point for me was physically we're different, but I think when people can see that disabled people can sit and have this kind of conversation, and we're all it shows how well we're different physically. We all feel the same emotion. There's no, as in like, we all feel things differently, but there's not an emotion that the two of us have felt that's
different.
Yeah, like, because we're all human, we're all the same species. So like, when you're sitting saying, "Oh, nobody understands this," like, somebody has went through that. Somebody has went through that, and I think that can remove that physical barrier and start people realising that, like, we need to stop alienating these people. Because you look at the media coverage everywhere, right? Like on podcasts and TV and all that. Joe Rogan's had more than 1,000 episodes. Has there been any disabled person on that? Do you know what I mean?
And the Fatherless already has. We've had numerous, actually.
Exactly. So my point is that even in the mainstream of podcasts, there's not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's so many things where we get stigmatized, but these kind of conversations are the things that I've always thought connecting and showing that we have the same sort of emotions can really, because our scenarios are different, but the feelings are similar.
Yeah.
And it can break those barriers and show that we are all able to connect with each other and get through this rigmarole that is life, that nobody really knows what's going on. We can get through it together and help each other.
Mate, I've never, probably because I've grew up with people in my family have learning difficulties, like my biological, like a lot of them. And mate, I've never, that's eye-opening that you say that, because I've never had, seriously, when I see somebody with a disability, my first thing isn't, well, they have a disability. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they've got to say. Like, I want to know shit. That's how, when I had Craig Crawn, I just seen him as a stand-up comic that just so happened to have a disability. I just seen him as a funny guy. It's the same when I watch, I don't care if somebody's gay, black, trans, whatever. I just go, no, we're all people. You are unique in your own way, and you will always have something interesting. So that's how, I'm just obsessed with learning a lot of shit about people. And that's how, I don't care that you're fucking in a wheelchair, mate. I couldn't care less. I just care that you want to have a laugh.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's it.
No, that's exactly it, mate. It's giving people a voice to know they're not alone. When I was younger, if I could have somebody in a wheelchair or with any disability and hear them speak on things, it would have helped me feel like I wasn't the only person going through this. You know what I mean?
Mate, yeah.
Because you do get alienated that way, and that's what this is all about. It's all about ability.
Hey, I hate that though, man. I actually hate hearing that. That's just, I think that's
but
just...
But we're doing it. Every podcast that we do, everything that with the message that we have that we're putting out there is breaking those barriers one day at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy and privileged and proud to still be here and to be able to come through everything that I came through, to be able to grow this. And I'm excited now that I'm actually getting to the root of my problems, that I can really take that on and take it to where I want it to go, because I am, we are both really good at this, mate.
You are, mate, you're shit hot.
I'm really happy. I'm honestly just so happy to be here and be alive and be proud to just be able to give it the best I can going forward. So there will be more podcasts coming.
Mate, you'll be on the file list soon anyway. We'll have a right laugh.
I would happily be on that.
It will be wild though. If any of your fans want to watch it, will be crazy. We'll fuck with you so much. That's good.
That's good to know. I'll be ready.
Mate, prepared, mate.
But no, thank you everybody that's watched, and thank you, Sean. This has been amazing. I've kind of forgotten how to wrap these things up, so let's just say that Cat Williams is a fraud.
Stay gay, motherfucker.